Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever used a website and just marveled at how fast and smooth it is? Chances are, a tool called React was working its magic behind the scenes. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how it works.
So let's kick things off with a problem that pretty much every web developer runs into. You want to build something cool and dynamic where things can update on the fly without a full-page refresh. But as you start adding more and more features, your code just becomes this tangled mess. So why is this so complicated?
Well, it all comes down to something called the DOM, which stands for Document Object Model. Just think of it as the live structural blueprint for your entire web page. To change anything, like update a comment or show a notification, your code has to manually reach in and perform direct surgery on that blueprint.
And that's where the old way and the React way really differ. With plain or vanilla JavaScript, you're the surgeon. You have to find every single piece that needs changing and update it by hand. It gets messy, it's easy to make mistakes, and honestly, it can be really slow. React completely flips that on its head. You just describe the final result you want to see, and React worries about all the messy DOM surgery for you.
This leads us right to React's big, game-changing idea. It asks you to stop thinking of a website as one giant, single document, and instead to think of it like you're building with Legos. And in the world of React, those Lego bricks are called components. A component is just a little self-contained chunk of your user interface. It could be something as simple as a button, or a little more complex like a search bar, or even a whole user profile card. The key is, each piece manages its own business. And just like Legos, the real power isn't in a single brick, but in what you can do with them. They're reusable, so you build a fancy button once and use it everywhere. They're independent, so you can fix a bug in your search bar without breaking the rest of the site. And they're composable, meaning you can snap these simple pieces together to build really complex, amazing things.
When you get right down to it, a React app is nothing more than a big tree of these components. You might have a main app component at the very top. Inside that, you snap in a navbar and a content area. And inside the navbar, you'll find a logo and some nav button components. It's just components all the way down.
Okay, so that's the big idea. Building with Legos, got it. But how do you actually make these little digital bricks? Well, React gives you a few special tools for the job.
First up, you've got JSX. Now, if you squint, this looks almost exactly like regular HTML, but it's actually a special kind of JavaScript that lets you write your UI structure right alongside your logic. It's the best of both worlds.
And this is where JSX really starts to feel like a superpower. You can seamlessly mix your static HTML with live dynamic data. See those curly braces? That's your magic portal into JavaScript. You can stick a variable in there, a calculation, whatever you want, and React will pop the result right onto the page.
All right, so how do we get data like a username into our components? That's where props and state come in. Here's an easy way to think about it. Props are like settings you pass into a component from its parent. They're read-only. State, on the other hand, is the component's own internal memory, data that it manages itself and that can change over time. Props make your components reusable. State makes them interactive.
And here's the absolute key to everything. Whenever a component's internal state changes, let's say you click a like button and a counter goes up, React instantly knows that part of the screen is out of date, and it automatically redraws it to reflect the change. But how on earth does it do that so fast?
This brings us to React's secret weapon, the thing that allows it to be so incredibly performant. It's called the virtual DOM.
So, instead of touching that slow, real DOM blueprint every single time, React does something incredibly clever. When a change happens, it first creates a new, super lightweight copy of the DOM in memory. Then, it plays a super fast game of spot the difference between the new copy and the old one. Once it knows exactly what changed, maybe just one number in a sentence, it performs one quick, tiny, surgical update on the real DOM. This whole comparison process, which developers call diffing, happens in the blink of an eye. It completely avoids all the slow, heavy work of rebuilding big chunks of the page. And that efficiency, that's the secret sauce. That's what makes React apps feel so incredibly snappy and responsive.
So are you feeling inspired? Ready to try building your own components? The best part is, getting started today is easier than it has ever been.
You don't have to be an expert to jump in. The checklist is actually pretty simple. You need a solid foundation in the basics: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. After that, you just need a couple of free tools, Node.js, and a code editor like VS Code. With those ready, a modern tool like Vite can spin up a starter project for you in literally seconds.
Which brings us to the big takeaway here. Is React just another library? Not really. By making you think in small, self-contained components that manage their own data, it fundamentally changes your whole approach to building things for the web. It's more than a tool. It's a powerful and organized mindset that has truly reshaped how we create modern user interfaces.